Hello again. Oksana Tashakova here with information about the impression you make. Do you know what impression you give in your offline life? How others really perceive you? In order to align your offline impression with your personal brand, you must first determine whether or not you are having the impact on others you want to. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony." The thing is, if you are not an adept communicator yet or haven't built up your emotional intelligence skills, then you can be quite mistaken about this harmony. Everything you do and say sends a message to others, but it's often difficult for us to really understand what the message is. If you are a shy person, your self-consciousness can be so intense that it distorts feedback from others. If you are an overconfident person, it's likely that you don't get honest feedback from others or that you are unaware of the authentic reactions of others. Your self-concept filters out information in feedback. You pick up on the information that enforces your self-concept and don't notice information that contradicts it. You may not realize how dramatically you alter your behavior, the way you communicate, your opinions, and even your appearance according to different contexts or social groups. To gain alignment and authenticity, you will need to measure your true impact on others against your ideal. The impression you are making comes at the intersections of three factors: who you think you are, what you do and say, and the perceptions of others. So, gathering honest feedback is a vital tool in terms of correcting mistaken impressions and perceptions. If this thought makes you cringe, you're not alone. In fact, you'll have to work harder at encouraging others to give you honest feedback. When it is negative, they will cringe too. Honest feedback can be hard to take, but it's important to encourage it. Why? When others perceive you differently than who you believe yourself to be, you create dissonance in them, an uncomfortable conflict. These discrepancies or dissonances can damage how effective you are in dealing with others and how impactful you are. Dissonance is the opposite of resonance. It's the note that clangs instead of fitting into harmony. It's an uncomfortable vibe you may create in others instead of the rapport you want. The top 10 misperceptions that create dissonance are: believing you are shrewd when you really come across as sly, thinking you come across as confident when others think you arrogant, believing you are funny when others often think you are inappropriate, thinking that you are energetic when others perceive you as being hyper, considering yourself as someone with strong opinions when you come across as dogmatic or narrow-minded, believing you are passionate when others see you as impulsive, considering yourself detail-oriented when others perceive you to be hypercritical, perfectionist, or fussy, thinking you exude a quiet presence when others perceive you to be passive or indecisive, believing yourself to be sensitive when others think of you as needy, thinking you are strong when others perceive you to be stubborn or overbearing. Now, most people aren't openly willing to tell you that you can come across as needy, fussy, or sly. That's why you'll have to come up with a plan to learn the truth. Perhaps you can print something out that people can fill out anonymously. Perhaps you can stress to people that you really need this information to improve yourself. Be sure to ask people from different areas of your life: friends, family, colleagues, social networks. Ask people if you ever make the following negative impressions or come across as arrogant, hyper, or needy. overly opinionated, impulsive or rigid, nitpicking, passive or indecisive, demanding or hostile, stuffy, oversensitive or sly, untrustworthy, melodramatic or rude, shy, pessimistic or abrupt, excessively perky or close-minded. You may even want to leave space for people to add negative impressions that aren't on this list. These insights could be very telling. What's really important is to get people to tell you how or why they got this impression, what it is you said or did to give them this impression. If you don't understand the context the negative trait was in, then you will have trouble changing it. Now, getting this kind of feedback is hard, and this is an important test of the emotional intelligence competencies of self-awareness and self-management. Try not to act out in anger at others or yourself. Do your best not to beat yourself up for making the wrong impression, and instead of focus your energies on correcting this. And keep an open mind. Not everything that you will learn will be correct. Try not to reject what someone says out of hand, but take everything you learn with a grain of salt too. Ask yourself, is this opinion something I may have thought about myself? Does this ring true for me, or is one of my inner critics triggered by this? Are there any recurring themes across everyone's input that may suggest a certain pattern? Next, decide what mistaken impressions you may be really making and brainstorm ways that you can correct them. There are two ways you can do this. The first is to think about your desired impression, and the second is to anticipate dissonance. For the first technique, think about the mistaken impression you are making and think about the impression you really want to make. What can you do to shift this perception of you? For example, if you learn that you come across as melodramatic, how do you really want people to see you? Do you want to be thought of as expressive, interesting, a good communicator? How can you bridge this transition? Should you take care not to exaggerate? Can you change the subject matter you tend to towards? Will thinking about what others are interested in hearing help you to speak about topics that engage them without overemphasis? Will thinking journalist, not a stage actor, remind you to convey relevant information instead of trying to impress? In some cases, your natural traits can come across in a negative way. If you are naturally quiet, it's not useful for you to force yourself to be a talkative person. If you are detail-oriented, you won't build your authentic influence by trying to seem lax and careless. So that's when you should use technique 2, anticipating dissonance. With this technique, you use humility. You put it all out in the open. When you give people permission to note something possibly negative about yourself instead of trying to conceal it, then they are most likely to instead get on your side. It's kind of thinking you have to be solemn during an event. If you feel like it's okay to laugh, it's much less likely that you will be overtaken with hysterical giggles. And then you are not focused on trying to be solemn. You are engaged with the person and matter at hand. When you acknowledge and share potential source of dissonance, you help people correct them in their own minds. If you come across as hyper sometimes, you may tell people, well, I get very excited about these topics, so if I come across as too hyper or excited, just be with me and let me know if I'm going overboard. If others think that you are too passive, you might say, I may not say much during this meeting, but I want you to know that it is because I think this warrants reflection. I'm someone that thinks things through rather than speaking from the cuff. I'm willing to share my insight after I've absorbed and analyzed the facts. So, think about how you can change mistaken perceptions and help people to rectify dissonances due to your natural tendencies. Disarm dissonances with sharing. See you in my next video. If you've enjoyed this video, you will really love this ebook, How to Attract Success Like a Magnet. Unlock the secrets of power, influence, impact, and effectiveness. Value of $40, and you are getting it absolutely free from me, so you can discover what makes you most effective, what your priorities really are, how to focus on what will make the most difference in your career and relationships. You can learn how to get out of your own way and really get going in terms of creating a richly rewarding life. This ebook is complementary and goes hand in hand with the video series, the fragment of which you just saw. Click on the link below this video and you will get access to this amazing ebook instantly.